Good morning or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, depending on where you may find yourself in the world at this time. Welcome to this short presentation on the Luz Living project. Luz Living is intended to be the Algarve's first five-star luxury independent living condominium located right on the coast. So rather tongue twister there, but we aim to bring together pre-retirees and retirees who will buy and reside in Luz Living, or investors who will acquire one or more of the units here, and those units will in turn be occupied by and large by pre-retirees or retirees, independent living, along the lines of what many of you will already have experienced and know very well in markets such as the US and Canada, even in the UK, the independent living, South Africa, Australia. So this is the concept of Luz Living. A few people have asked us whether or not this will be a care home, and the answer is categorically not. But we have designed the project such that it is fully accessible and fully able to evolve with the aging of its resident population. So what we want to avoid in a project of this nature is the fact that people may find one day that they have outgrown or outaged their own home and are forced to move elsewhere. So we have taken great care to make sure that the design of Luz Living is compatible with an aging population, and basically that means all of us. We're all aging. So this presentation, as I say, will be rather brief. The objective will be to cover very briefly the project and also some of the investment offers, and rather than running through lots of videos in a single presentation, I would like to point you to some of the key locations where you will be able to find information. The first is clearly you can email us. We're always happy to receive an email from you at info@luz-living.com. The website itself has all of the necessary resources, some high-level floor plans, the videos, the walkthroughs, and so on. So feel free to visit that. Feel free to visit our Luz Living channel. We have now set up a YouTube channel containing relevant videos, drone views, and so on of the project. I would like to point out two particular videos which might be of interest. The first is a journey to Luz Living. We have both the commented and the non-commented versions of this video, and what the video does is it shows how to get to the project via flying into Lisbon or via Faro, and how you cross the country and reach the Western Algarve and the location of the Luz Living project. So that's a very nice visual video which I would encourage you to look at. And then we also have a more technical video which is contained here, and that explains with a detailed explanation of an example the Luz Living investor offer, which I will also cover in this presentation today. On the site you will also find a virtual tour, and that will give you the ability to walk through elements or sections of the Luz Living project, and we will do that again in the presentation today, so I won't do that in a lot of detail, but you can go back to this video on the Luz Living site and walk through at your leisure the apartments, the leisure area, the communal areas, the garden, and so on. And then of course we do periodically post information on our Facebook page, and we have just recently launched an Instagram page, and you can have a look on that for any sort of relevant photographic posts or anything of the like. We're also happy to take your calls, whether you're in North America. Feel free to call our US number, and that will patch through to us in Europe if there's no one taking the call directly in the office. The UK, exactly the same thing will happen because everyone is working remotely. And in Portugal, if you happen to find yourself in country, then feel free to give us a ring. We briefly to discuss the project. The highlights of this particular project are that it is a fully approved project and the construction license has been paid for and issued. So you will often hear in European markets of projects that are still subject to planning or might be able to get planning, or there's a possibility of building something. This is not the situation with Luz Living. Luz Living is a fully approved. We have the architectural plans approved, the specialities as we call them, so the engineering elements, the electrics, the sewage and all that have been fully approved, and as a result of all those approvals, the municipality or the local council has issued, and we have paid a significant amount of money for the construction license, which allows us to start constructing pretty much at any time we wish. The plot itself is 6,240 square meters. It's the largest urban plot close to the beach in the village town of Praia da Luz. We are planning 38 1- and 2-bedroom apartments. The site will have an extensive range of on-site amenities, one of the largest landscaped gardens in the location and the village of Praia da Luz, and our expected completion is the end of 2023. So we, before I talk a little bit about the amenities, we are going to swap over to the virtual tour. So the virtual tour will describe the what you will be able to see and breathe, live and breathe in the Luz Living condominium development project. And I'm going to walk you through an example of a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and then some of the amenities and some of the communal areas, so you can get a sense of what it'll be like if you were there in person. And you are in the lobby or the reception area of the Luz Living condominium. So what we have created here, using the architect's plans, the engineering drawings, and the like, is a technical team has produced a 3D digital model using all that information, and then really created the experience of what the development will look like and feel like when it is constructed. There may well be some small changes, tone colors, sort of the textures and so on, but the model as a whole will be a very, very good approximation of what the living experience at Luz Living will be like. And so we think, rather than try to describe it, we will just show you. It took us several months to put this together, so we believe it's a fairly important tool to allow many of you who are seeing this at a distance, especially in the current COVID-19 pandemic affected travel times. This will be hopefully a hugely useful tool to allow you to visualize exactly what it is that you hopefully will be interested in investing in or living in the future. So this is the reception of the condominium. To the north of it is, you will notice, a very green area, and that is part of what we call in Portugal the PDM, or the Municipal Master Plan, and which typically is in place for around 10 years. And that means that that entire area is not forecast or foreseen to be developed on at all at any time in the near future. And even when the PDM ends, any substantial changes to the environment and to the planning of locations have to go through a very lengthy public consultation. So we don't anticipate any sort of change to that landscape for quite some time. I'm just going to show you two things. If you go onto our site, you'll be able to visualize each of these different perspectives. So there's a 2-bedroom apartment, a 1-bedroom apartment, all the leisure areas, and the garden and pool. We'll be trying to very quickly hop between them so that you can get a sense of what the living will be like in this sort of condominium. So Luz Living specifically, this is a top floor apartment, so clearly it has the best views. Excuse me, all the apartments on the top floor and the second last floor, so the first and the second floors, have these sort of panoramic sea views. They also have views of what we call the Rocha Negra mountain, which is wonderful for walks, at the top of which is again, a lovely, lovely golf course. So the terraces will be large. We emphasize in this development the outside living and the space. So the flow between the inside and the outside will be very, very important. The modern light and open flow to the apartments that we will be developing are equally important to us. And this is what has been most required and requested by people who are interested. I should also emphasize that in the apartments, although they are designed for primarily, totally independent people, we estimate that primarily people from maybe 45 to 65, 70 years old will be the main clients based on the people who have thus far reserved, although I should emphasize that this is not age limited. Equally, the apartments have been designed so that if one of us or one of the residents, for whatever reason, finds that they are later on in life affected by lower mobility and even have to use a wheelchair, there is compliance with regulations that allows at least one of the suites in each apartment to be fully wheelchair accessible. For example, the development also has 5 or 6 elevators, I forget now, but it means that in every block, as it were, you will only in every lobby there will only be access to 2 apartments on every floor, which means it's very COVID safe. You don't necessarily have to cross paths with too many people, and equally every area is accessible directly from the garage into the mini lobby of the different apartments. So the project, although designed pre-COVID, has stood up very, very well to the COVID type requirements which one would expect to exist in the current circumstances. So apologies, I have to go through this again. I'm going to take you through to the garden and pool. Clearly, we can't just jump out of the window and into that. We have to go through the reception, but you will see that the outside space has been landscaped. The things that I would point out here are that the types of plants are those that are by and large endemic to the region. So we intend to use plants which are not necessarily require huge amounts of water. They also flower throughout the year so that we retain some sort of color and protection. You will see that south facing there the landscape and the plants are there. In the corner of the garden will be also a special area for pets. So this will be a pet friendly condominium, and we encourage people to bring their companions with them. Clearly there will be rules and regulations outlining what people can and cannot do, and of course making sure that one respects the rest of the residents is crucial. The fact that there are a number of open areas, this is an outside lounge area, which means that people can still socialize, but within the criteria and the requirements of social distancing is very, very important. I just want to gravitate this upwards. You will see the sort of facade of the building. Perhaps to see that a little bit more easily, I will just move away a little bit from that to allow us to visualize that a bit from afar. So someone looking at the building, I think, will find that it is a fairly attractive building architecturally. We have used some local features, if you will, to bridge the gap between a very modern and a more traditional design. So it's a blended architectural approach, which means that we feel that the building will never become boring. which is important when we live in spaces like this. I would just like to show you briefly some of the internal spaces. So this is the internal or owner's lounge. As you can see, and this may well change in terms of configuration, but it is a large space with several environments that might be able to be created. And this means that people in the same bubble can socialize there, whereas others in another bubble, for example, can social distance. Some can be inside, some can be outside. We're now going to cheat a little bit, and that is jump through a wall and go to the gymnasium. Clearly, in real life, this will not be possible, but the gymnasium will be a very pleasant, open space with the views out into the garden, and also walled and with the possibility of looking through to the internal pool area. And the internal pool will be heated and will be of a sufficient size that will allow people to actually take exercise even in the winter. So we won't be heating the external pool because that's too costly and most people don't use it anyway. But the internal pool, the indoor pool, will be available all year round. So the full virtual tour, including the spa area and all the treatment rooms, is available on the full video on the site. But we just wanted to give you a sense of the project in a very brief presentation as it is today. So welcome back, and I hope that that has been useful in setting out the context of the project and what your lifestyle and life will be like. To repeat what I said before, but the virtual tour uses a very detailed 3D model, and although we don't guarantee that some of the materials may not change, some of the color tones may be slightly different, the context of that virtual tour is very close to the reality that we expect clients to and residents to live once they are on site. In case you did not pick that up from the virtual tour itself, highlights of the site amenities: outdoor salt water and indoor heated swimming pool. There will be a full gym, spa with massage and treatment rooms, a barbecue area, and even a dedicated pet area. This is important because we recognize that many of us have pets as companions. We may be a couple, we may be by ourselves, but a pet's very often part of the family. But equally, there may be residents that do not have pets and who don't necessarily want to have the dog or the cat doing their necessities everywhere. So we will be designing and implementing a dedicated pet area, which will be cleaned regularly, although we do expect owners to also play their part in making sure that that remains clean. And it's just an area for a quick walkabout with a pet. Of course, you can always walk outside the development, walk down to the beach and so on, so that's also very possible. There will be a reception with the site will have full site and front door security, although I should emphasize that this portal generally and this town in particular are very safe areas, and therefore crime is extremely low. But nonetheless, this provides an additional level of tranquility and privacy and exclusivity, if you will. There will be wireless internet throughout. We expect these days to be able to work from anywhere, even in communal areas, and this will be a responsibility of the condominium to make sure that that happens. And it will be a fully staffed site, including a manager. Whether that will be full-time or part-time, we're not sure yet, but there will be a team on site at most times to be able to help with the concierge-like services that we intend to deliver, and as part of the high-end living experience that we expect. There will be one of Luz's, if not the most stunning rooftop terrace, and accessible by all. But clearly, people are not going to have massive parties on this terrace. That's not the sort of activity one expects here. But clearly, if the condominium decides to have a cocktail party or a cheese and wine then certainly we will get the agreement and have that on the rooftop terrace. It will be a fully accessible and landscaped site, and the accessibility is absolutely crucial, because no matter how independent we are, we may find ourselves in a moment in our lives where we have a sore hip, or we can no longer walk upstairs as much as we did before, or whatever we may even find ourselves in a wheelchair for whatever reason, and we want to make sure that the livability of the site doesn't reduce over time. And so accessibility and full accessibility of the site is absolutely crucial, and elevator access to all floors is part of that. There will be solar heating and underfloor heating. A crucial thing, it may not seem like much at this stage, but Praia da Luz has very few secure, and again I emphasize that it's not because of safety issues, but simply a practical one of keeping vehicles, some of them perhaps expensive vehicles, in a safe location out of the sun, which can be quite strong. And so the apartments will come with 1 to 3 covered parking spaces per apartment, and some of those will include lock-up garages. We will do a pre-installation of electric car charging points, so that if you do have an electric vehicle, you will be able to have the ability to charge it within the garage itself in the privacy of the condominium. And there will be lock-up and leave storage rooms, so that if you are an investor and you have some personal items and you want to store them, then certainly you can keep those and still make available your apartment for a tenant. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the investment opportunity, because the beauty of the way that we have designed the project and the payment terms for the project is that you do not, and we recognize that this is 2.5 years away in terms of delivery, so we recognize that plans may change over time. So while this is extremely attractive for someone who is planning ahead, equally, someone who wants to take a decision now may find that their life changes or their circumstances change in the next couple of years. And so we want to provide that flexibility. And that means that we have created not only a payment plan, but also an investment offer that allows you, as a future resident or as an investor, to take a decision about whether or not you want to be in one camp or the other, or in fact in both, and I'll talk about that in a second, by leaving that decision to as late as possible. So if you opt for the investor route, or if you think you're going to reside, but then find yourself needing to act as an investor because you can no longer move to Portugal, for example, then we have structured an opportunity that we believe will return, or could return, once the units are completed, a potential 28% ROI on invested capital. And I will explain that using an example. So just some highlights, financial highlights and key points. We have 1-bedroom units priced from 275,000 euros. And I haven't converted this slide into dollars. I'm just talking in euros on this slide. I have done dollars on the next one. And then 2-bedroom prices from 475,000 euros. We do have some offers on some ground floor units. So actually our launch prices for a 2-bedroom unit is actually around 436,000 euros. We have 3 payment options. We have a standard purchase, which is you pay your reservation, you sign a promissory contract, you make your stage payments, and you pay 40% on completion. Standard, there's nothing unusual or special about that. It is just simply for people who want to typically reside here and buy an apartment. We then have the discounted purchases. We already have reservations for the project, several, but we want to create an opportunity among some people to get into the project, and we have picked the 5 ground floor 2-bedroom 1-bathroom apartments. All the other 2 bedrooms with 2 bathrooms. So these ones slightly smaller because they only have 1 bathroom, and we have discounted those prices to 436,000 500 euros for any reservations that are signed by October the 15th. And I wish to emphasize here that we are talking about reservations. We will only go to promissory contract probably towards the end of the year or the beginning of next year. But this is only for reservations taken, and those involve 10,000 euro payment, which I will explain on the next slide. So where you even if you reserve, you don't have to come up with the initial payment for several months yet, because we want a group of people to go to promissory contract together, and therefore this offer is available for the next month and a half. Broadly, this is the time at which this presentation is being taped, and therefore valid until the October the 15th. And then thirdly, there is an investor offer, and after completion, in summary, the developer, Luz Living, will resell your unit. So you come in as an investor, the developer at the end will resell your unit, and the remaining 40%, which is part of that standard payment plan, is deducted from the sales proceeds on resale. So you will actually, as an investor, never have made the payment of the last 40%, because that is withheld or retained until the unit is resold, if you choose the investor offer or the investor option. And it means you don't choose the resaleability of that unit. The developer has the right to resell it, but you then receive 60% of the profit, or the uplift in value, the difference between the sales value, the resales value at that point, and the original list price of the unit. So because you have paid 60%, and you'll see it's not quite 60%, I'll explain in the example, but because you effectively have paid 60% of the stage payments, you will get 60% of the profit or the uplift on resale. And using the numbers, that return on investment on your invested capital is expected or estimated to be around 28%, which I'm now going to explain. And I have used, to make it simple, a one-bedroom worked example. And for those who are more visual, I've included a table at the top. And for those who prefer the text, I have done so at the bottom. And I have, hopefully, there are no mistakes in terms of the exchange rate. When I did the example, the exchange rate was at €1 was 1.177. So €1 was $1.17.7. The euro dollar fluctuates, as many of you will know. So tomorrow it might be slightly better, slightly worse, but that, for the purposes of the example, that was the amount used. And now I must apologize, because what you're seeing here is you're actually seeing the example in the table is of a two-bedroom unit at 549,000, whereas in the example below you're actually seeing the one-bedroom unit in text format. So in a sense, this is good, because I've given you example in a visual format of the two-bedroom unit, but I'm actually going to talk through a one-bedroom unit. Hopefully that's not too confusing. So the apartment price is 275,000 euros, in dollars 323, just over 323 and a half thousand dollars. The reservation is 10,000 euros, or $11,770, and on promissory contract, called the CPCV, Contrato Promessa de Compra e Venda, we will be asking for 10% in the investor option, and that is 17,500, because we've already deducted the 10,000 euros, which is being held by the developer, Luz Living. So the 10% payment, or the payment due at that stage of promissory, would be around $20,500. Then there are 5 stage payments of 10% each, so that's 27,500 euros each, or $32,368 each, spread over 2 years. So in my example that I've given above, where you've got a zero month would be the promissory, and then 4 months later, 8 months, 12 months, 16 and 20 months, with the 24th month being the expected completion of the project and therefore the final payment, which from the investor offer or option is deferred until the resale. So the point that I'm making here is the 24th month payment, which in this example would be 110,000 euros or 130,000 almost dollars, is deferred until the unit is resold. Now, the important thing to calculate your return on investment, if you do opt for this investor option, is the average investment over a 2-year period. So to explain this a little bit better using the other example, if you are paying 10% at the start, that 10% will be invested or paid for the full 24 months. However, if you're paying the 10% tranche or stage payment in month 12, then clearly that 10% is only invested or with the developer for 12 months. So once you've averaged out all the payments and their timing, your investment for this example, which I'm quoting, which is the 1-bedroom unit, that investment is actually only 110,000 euros or $130,000. It is not the full 60% that you would have expected to pay. You will have made 60% of the stage payments, but the actual cash that you have invested over a period of 2 years, when averaged out, is only 110,000 euros. And that's important because that is the basis for the calculation of your return on investment. You're getting the investment on the average that you've invested over that period of time. So if we estimate, and we've done a number of sort of analyses in terms of what the likely uplift is in the price once the project is fully built, we think that a 1-bedroom unit should comfortably sell for 325,000 euros. So something that was initially priced today at 275 will, at the end of 2023, we expect should be somewhere in the region of 325. Excuse me, and then you will earn 60% of the uplift or the profit, which corresponds to 30,000 euros. And so if I do this calculation in dollars, I don't know why I haven't done the euros here, but if I divide 30,000 euros by 110,000 euros, or I divide $35,310 by $129,470, then I get a 27.2% return on my capital. So hopefully, and with apologies for the fact that I've now included a graphical example of a 2-bedroom unit and explained a 1-bedroom unit, but if that is confusing, feel free to reach out to us and we'd be happy to explain this again or explain it in a different way. But hopefully that has given you a sense and a very detailed understanding of what constitutes our investor offer at Luz Living. And I want to state again that the key thing about this offer is its flexibility. You can think today that you might be a resident and tomorrow decide to be an investor. That is fine as long as you stick to the payment terms that have been agreed. Or vice versa. You may think that this is a great investment offer, and as the project takes life and you see the building and you fall in love with the project and feel and visit the location several times and feel you could live there, and you decide that you wish to make it your residence, then we are certainly not going to force you to resell the unit. As long as the developer receives the full payment as agreed on the list price, then that won't be an issue whatsoever. So flexibility is absolutely key. And therefore, in summary, thank you once again for listening. We hope that has been useful in explaining what really is one of the first, if not the first, independent living project in this province of Portugal, certainly on the coast. And we look forward to contact from any and all of you that might be interested, and feel free to spread the word and communicate and tell others about this as well. We deal with many non-Portuguese people moving to Portugal, and we would be happy to talk to them about whether or not Luz Living is a fit for their future pre-retirement or retirement. Thank you once again, and be in touch. Stay safe.